whole practice management software built for modern law firms. Your practice performance matters.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the final session in this series of caseload coaching. We're going to be taking a few weeks off, and I'll come back to that shortly. In today's session, we'll be showing you how we've really simplified time recording within CaseLoad. CaseLoad is built to ensure accurate record of time spent on any client matter, whether that's in the form of a client meeting, a telephone call, perusal of a document produced, email sent or received, or basically any other chargeable activities. So today we'll show you how the time recording functionality within CaseLoad will not only help you calculate time spent on specific tasks or a whole project, but it also makes the invoicing and billing process a whole lot easier. And regardless of how you bill your clients, the workflow is automated to track working hours, create invoices and generate reports. And we're sure that anyone who joined us in session 4, that's when we initially showed you the time recording functionality within CaseLoad, will recognise some of the updates that we've made in quite a short period of time. And like every feature of the software, we're constantly striving to improve the functionality based on feedback from you, the user. So just before we jump into the demonstration with Stephen, I just want to remind you that you can ask questions throughout. Please type them into us. We'll endeavour to answer as many as we can when we get to that part of the session. So I think we can now begin. Over to you, Stephen.
Thank you. So the learning objectives we're looking to cover this week are how to enable matters for time recording so they've not been switched on at the creation process. We can do that from within the software. New time entries are available across CaseLoad in various formats, including in importing emails, sending emails, document production. So we'll look at a few examples of those as to where that's available. We'll also look at the time matters grid, which will give you the option to view your WIP limits on a grid view and see how close you are coming to the WIP limits and whether you're looking to have to fee the client. One of the other options in CaseLoad is the ability to run a timer on a matter. So we'll cover that in the session as well. And CaseLoad offers the ability to do direct job charges or post time entries to a timesheet. So we'll look at the timesheet view and how you can view, update and amend your timesheet from within the software as well before it gets posted. And we'll do similarly with the feeing part of the system as well. So how you bill out the clients, what you can do to edit and amend the fees, and then emailing them out to the clients. And finally, we'll look at a further option in CaseLoad, which is a portion in time entries for travel that will cover court, mileage, expenses. So if we look at CaseLoad, we'll just go and have a look and see the software. We're in the matter accounts view at the moment. If we go into a matter, you'll see time recording tab is switched on because it's been selected in the account section. So if a matter doesn't have the time recording tab available like this, you'll see there's no time entry option up here either. We click on time postings allowed and you'll see that enables the time recording tab on this one, which allows you to set the charge category based on the ones that have been built into the system, the charge level and the work in progress limit. That'll then let you view unposted time entries as you do them to your timesheet, but also allow you to then create new time entries on the matter as well. So looking at this one, if we click on the new button and look at new time entry, you'll see we've got a range of time entry options available. These time entry options are mapped from the job work type and what the charge category looks like. So both of those combined allow us to get a selection of timesheet entries against a particular matter. So you'll see these ones are all for letter, meeting, calls and travelling. If we were to go into a different matter, say that this criminal one here, and switch on time recording, We'll just choose a charge category in there. So choose that one and that one, and we'll save that. When we now do new time entry, you see there's other available time entries there. So it's different list from what there was previously, but there's now more court-related ones because this is a criminal work type. That's the ones that are available on this particular matter. So you can see as we pick the different charge categories and work types that those become available and the different time entries become available. If we look at the time matters view, I'm just going to move this recents and favourites column to the left just to give us a more full wide view. You'll see we've got WIP charges. I'll just sort those in order. So WIP charges in here in the column on the left and WIP limit on the right. The WIP charges will stay green until they hit 80% of the WIP limit. If there's no WIP limit, like this one here, then it will show in white, so it won't show the indicator moving towards the WIP limit. As it reaches 80% of the WIP limit, those will turn amber. And as we go over the WIP limit, that will turn red. And you can see how much under or over the WIP limit we are in this third column. So those three combined allow you to monitor each matter and see which ones are approaching the WIP limit, which ones need to be feed, and which ones do we possibly stop working on if we're not being paid. So it's important to keep an eye on these and see how you're progressing on each one. And again, like before, we covered in recent sessions, if you only want to see the ones that are associated with yourself, clicking on the person icon, you can see a day-to-day view as the ones that you need to be keeping an eye on and the ones that you're working on. So if we look back at the main view, I'm just going to get into one just now. So select this one here. And we're going to do a new time entry. So on this new time entry, I'm going to select telephone call, just to use it as an example. And you'll see that that brings up the new time entry window. So this new time entry window allows us to see what the WIP balance looks like, what anything that's already been sitting on a timesheet or anything that's about to be added to the fee, what the WIP limit looks like and what the difference is. So you'll see on the time entry window, it's defaulting to myself as a fee earner. That's a selectable drop down. So if you're looking to select someone else within the firm to post a time entry to their timesheet or a job charge associated with them, you can pick that from the drop down list as well. The activity code is what we selected from the drop down window, so we don't expect to have to change that from within here. In the summary, we can either edit the summary free type, or we can have standard narratives in the system as well. So you see on these ones, we have a few example standard narratives in here. Things like reviewing. You see it brings up the summary and the narrative, but there can be much more long-winded, if you like, examples. So this one here, we've got fee work regarding some proceedings. And you see we can have quite a large number of text characters in there to populate the narrative on this particular time entry. So that can save a bit of time further down the line. If that's an activity that you do regularly and you wanted a narrative to be in the system, those can be added in there as well to give you that functionality. So if you were just to pick letter in this example, and telephone call, I'm going to choose, and we'll just put tel call. Summary. Just take that out. So we've now got the summary. I'm going to leave the narrative blank in this instance, and I'm going to say that call is between 15:35 and 15:45. That will calculate me for 10 minutes, which is 2 units at that charge rate. Now, what we built into the time entry window is the ability to view your timesheet that you've used throughout the day. So I've put a few examples in here. So you see on the second tab, we've got mini sheet, and that allows us to view anything that we've posted through the timesheet already today. So you can see I've already put quite a few entries against my timesheet for the day. So this gets shown here and there. It means if you've already posted time entries, you can avoid conflicts because you can look at the mini sheet while you're doing the time entry and know that you were unlikely to have done this entry between, say, 1:45 and 5:45 because we had an entry in there for a different matter. So that allows you to see a bit of activity of what you've done throughout the day on the mini sheet. And we'll look at the timesheet shortly to see how you can add and amend and update the timesheet as well. But if we're happy with this particular one, and everything we've selected is exactly what we want to be adding to the timesheet, we can hit save and close, and that time entry is now been added. We can do the same on both document production and import from Outlook, and I'll just run through the example of both so you can see how that gets done. So on the document production, like we covered on document management last week, we'll just pick a style letter and we'll choose to post time. And we'll say next and do nothing. So the system is now going to produce the document for me, and you'll see the time entry windows come up after we've done the document. So what I would expect in this instance is we're going to look in here and we're going to say, right, that's going to be 115 words that we've done there. So if it's a letter that is chargeable by word count, we can do our edits on the document. I'll leave this one as it is, and in the word count, add 115, and you see that updates the narrative with the number of pages, the word count, and the charge, and hit save and close. So that's produced the document, we've worked on the edit, and we've then posted the job charge on completion of the document. It's quite a quick process. On the import from Outlook, if you're looking to charge or input, you can import an email into the system and also charge the time at the same time. So that can be on either your inbox or your sent items. So if I was looking to charge for this particular email that's came in, I'll click on the email, post time, and you'll see it brings in the fee under it's associated with the matter, because it knows which that matter relates to, because the email that's coming from this matter that we're in. We can add the summary if required. I was to change that activity to perusing of email. You see we can enter the time if required, but in most instances you're just going to be clicking on the email, posting the time, and hitting import. So that's going to import the email against the system and update the job charge for you at the same time. One other area where it is available, if we look at the events, if we select an event, in here you'll see the new time entry button is against the event. So if you happen to have created an event, for instance a telephone attendance note, or a meeting is recorded as an event, then you do have the option to click on the event window, select the activity, and save that as a job charge against the item as well. So quite a few different areas in the software to allow you to post chargeable time against. If we look at the timesheet view, I'm just going to go and have a wee look at that just now. So when you create an event, a new time entry event in CaseLoad, it automatically creates a new timesheet for you for that day if you don't have one opened already. So you see I've created one for today's date, and you can see the other ones that are live on the system. So anything that's shown as active will show in here, and you can see the number of minutes, units, and charge that I've already got built up today. Double clicking on the timesheet view, we'll just maximize that window. You can see all the entries that I've put through for today, the matters associated with them, along with the matter description and the summary that we added. And if I click on any of these, you'll see it will show the narrative that I put in down below, if that's been added to the system. So you see the times will show here, anything that's a letter will show there as well, along with the minutes, units, and charge. So they show in the bottom down here. A few options up in the main menu. Excuse me. You've got save and close, which will save the timesheet and close it. Refresh if you've added time entries and they need to be updated. Or you can delete time entries from in here as well. So if I made a mistake with this one here, I can choose to delete the time entry and say yes. And you see that that's now been removed from my timesheet. If I wanted to update one, I can double click and it'll bring the window back up. So as long as I haven't posted the timesheet, I do have the option to edit it prior to being posted. So that ran on a wee bit longer than we thought. We can add another 10 minutes in there, and that'll update the charge. So when I then save and close, you'll see it's just automatically updated my total charges for today based on the increased charge. And once you've done for the day and you're happy with all the timesheet entries, you just click on Post Timesheet and that will save it into the system. There is a timesheet flyout window on the left-hand side. When you log in, it will typically be defaulted with your own name. So it will just show probably your own timesheets. Clicking on the eraser icon removes that and allows you to see all current active timesheets. And one of the other options in here, which is quite good if you're looking to see historical posted timesheets, is clicking on Show Closed and Posted, and that allows you to see the ones that have been active and the ones that have been posted. And you can then view previous ones. You aren't able to amend any of this because it is posted timesheet as a job charge, but that does allow you to view historical timesheets if required. One of the other options I wanted to show was the ability to do apportion time. So we click on the new button at the main level window. So we're not in a particular matter. And we click on New Apportion Time. You'll see a slightly different time recording window will appear here. And what you can do in here is select, it's to be used for traveling to and from court. So if you were to decide for a particular day, so we'll choose yesterday since we've got quite a few for today. So say yesterday we went to court and we started the travel at 9 AM and arrived at 10 o'clock. And we did the same in return. We did that at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So we've now got the travel to and from. I'm going to choose a destination, so we'll choose Perth Sheriff Court, and we'll say mileage of that, expenses of that, and parking of that. Not Edinburgh, so we'll put £3. So we've now got everything selected in terms of the travelling time, and we're now going to look at the apportionment. And we're going to select to do that over a couple of matters. So we'll choose that one there and this one there. So these two court matters, we're going to choose that. And we're going to then click Apportion Time. So what you see that does is everything that needs to be split against both matters, and that can be done in 2, 3 or 4 matters, it gets split appropriately. So the units and charges on the travelling to and from, mileage, expenses and parking are all being added and updated. So when then save and close these, that all gets added to my timesheet. So if I now look at my timesheet, on the timesheet view, you see all these entries have been added. So you get 5 entries depending on what you've selected. If you didn't select expenses or parking, then they wouldn't be added. But you see they all get added and charged onto the particular matters in there. And that allows you to then update the timesheet with the entries that we've just added there, which updates the job charge and everything gets pulled through. So the other option that we want to look at is the ability to run a timer. So if we open this particular matter here and we do a new time entry, I'm going to choose one for meeting. And I'm going to select run timer. So we'll take the default start time as what it is, 15:50, and we're going to run the timer. So this allows you to do real-time time recording on this particular matter. It can be in the sense of a meeting or a telephone call. you can click the mini timer and you see that just moves that window up and out the road, if you like. So you're allowed, it gives you the option to view the file while the timer's running. So if you've got questions on this particular matter that you might want to be able to answer, you can flick through the file and read the correspondence and the particular events while the meeting's ongoing or the telephone call's ongoing. And once you've concluded that, and we've decided that we're going to stop the timer, you click on run timer again, and that updates the charge. So that one's that's done it from the 50:51 to 51. In a real world scenario, that's going to be slightly longer. So we move that to 4 o'clock. That's 9 minutes of a charge. And we can hit save and close. So you can do real-time time recording in CaseLoad as well as doing historical time recording of entries that you've done previously, or you've done throughout the day. If we look at the next thing I want to look at is the ability to, once you've done all your time recording entries, doing some feeing. So on a matter, you see we do have on the new button the option to do a new fee, and that allows you to build your fee based on things like time recorded charges. If you wanted to add an additional charge, you would tick that box. It will flag up any outlays or expenses that have been added to this particular matter to be able to add to the fee. And we can add anything else, post incidentals, client contribution, or payments to account on that one if we selected that tick box. But we'll choose these two options and run through what the fee wizard looks like. So you can add a fee reference. You could use the matter account code. I'm just going to add fee for here. And we can choose different fee style types. So you see we do have some options in the system, but I'm going to stick with the private one for now. And I'm just going to choose that on a different one, just so I can pull them in. Just bear with me. Better. So you see we've got some time charges on this particular matter to record. So they will show up here. If you wanted to remove them, so if you didn't want to charge them at this point, you can untick them. It will select them all by default. Clicking on next, any outlays would show in here if they were added to the file. And you'll see it work out the time charges and the outlays for this particular fee. So if we now preview the fee before we click finish, you have the option to show a narrative or not. We'll say yes in this instance. You see we've got the fee note style template, like an invoice, the charge category, items with the amounts, and the total fee are shown here as well. And there are some options in there. You can print the fee from the print icon. You can export the fee into these various formats, PDF, Excel, Word. And you can also email the fee from here as well. So we were to click on email and choose PDF attachment. You see it will open up an email box and allow us to send that one out. So that's going to have the email subject with the fee note, and you can add some details in the email if required to then send it out to the client. So if we close the fee wizard now and go to events, you will see the event is created with the fee note attached in there as well. So you have the automatically updating the event with details of the fee note being sent out to the client. If you have created fees and drafted fees, and if you look at the final option I want to look at is in the fees column, you have the ability to view fees by different status. So you've got fees outstanding, you've got draft fees if they were there, and you've got final fees. So these fees have been created, and you'll see that they have values associated with them. And that one there that they've just created is shown there as well. If we were to click on one of the fees, you'll see we do have the option in here to edit the fee. and that'll open up the fee items. So prior to sending this fee out, we're able to update the fee like we could do when we created the fee. That gives you an option to update the fee. So we wanted to take items off. So say we wanted to take that meeting off and that one off. You'll see these get removed and they go into the selected no. So that's how it's now taking a couple of entries off and moving them to no. So they will stay on the file as WIP charges, but they will have been removed from this particular fee. You can add a further charge in here. So if you wanted to add an additional charge of a different item, that can be added in here with the usual summary, narrative and amount. And you can also reorder the items. So if you wanted to move an item, say that one there, we wanted to move that further up to the top, you'll see we can update that moves it up to the top. And the same, we can move these ones further down if we wanted to have the outlays on the bottom of the fee and the mileage further up. You can see we can edit those up and down, and then save the fee, which then updates the breakdown. So you see we've now neatly sorted out the charges on the right with the outlays on the left. Total remains as it was, and we can also see the apportionment breakdown on the last tab, and we have also the option to print and view the saved fee like before, which will bring the same window up as we had on the previous fee, but in the order that we needed to see on this particular view. So you do have full access in CaseLoad to be able to update and amend fees as required in this section. If you're looking to view the current work in progress and charges, it's the time matter section that you would want to do that in. And that's pretty much everything from me for this week.
So we've had a question in, Stephen, and I'll just read it to you now. Is there a way to be in a matter with a list of events and see which have been posted to fees and which have not, without having to open each event?
So yeah, if we go back into CaseLoad and we have a look at one of these time matters views, if we click on the accounting tab and select postings, the time charge postings do appear in this view. So it gives you a one window view of all the time charge postings rather than having to go in and out each individual event. So you see these ones here that have been tagged as a time job charge now show on this list with the dates, amounts, and the time charged, and the status of them as well, so whether they've been billed or not billed in this view as well. So you do have the ability to see that. The other option you do have to view all active time charge postings in a report section, we do have the time record and inquiry button, and that allows you to neatly see in a report view that very similar view, but it shows you things like the date, the time, the fee earner, and the charges, along with what's not been billed yet on this view as well. And that can be, you can have different views of that. You see that can go over, that one's actually going over a couple of pages because of the amount of charges on that one, and you see the breakdown and list in there. So I hope that answers that particular question. That's the best way to view all active job charges out with having to go through each individual event.
Great, well hopefully that answered the question there. We don't have anything else at the moment, but as always, we're available anytime, Stephen, myself, the rest of the team. So you can drop us a line following the session, ask any additional questions that anyone may have. The session today has been recorded. It will be available online in the next 24 hours. We'll also send out a link to everyone who's attended. And that is the end of this week's session and the end of the current series. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us over the past few weeks, and we hope that you'll join us again. The next series is actually going to kick off in early November, but we'll send out a reminder about that a bit closer to the time. So in the meantime, stay safe and take care.